Boren was born in Washington, D.C. on April 21, 1941, to Christine, née McCown, and former U.S. Representative Lal Hagler Boren. He attended public schools in Seminole, Oklahoma, and Bethesda, Maryland. He later graduated in 1963 from Yale University, where he majored in American history, graduated in the top 1% of his class, and was elected to Phi Beta Kappa. He was a member of the Yale Conservative Party, Cannon and Castle ROTC Honor Society, elected president of the Yale Political Union, and is a member of Skull and Bones. He was selected as a Rhodes Scholar and earned a master's degree in philosophy, politics, and economics from University of Oxford, 1965. In 1968, he received a JD degree from the University of Oklahoma College of Law. In 1966, Boren defeated fellow Democrat William C. Wantland in a primary election and Clifford Kahn Jr. in the general election to win a seat in the Oklahoma House of Representatives. He served 4 terms, 1967 to 1974. While serving in the House, Boren was a member of the committee that investigated the University of Oklahoma after the school allowed black militant Paul Boutelle, a socialist and anti-Vietnam War activist, to give a speech there. During his House tenure, Boren was also a professor at Oklahoma Baptist University. Boren served in the Oklahoma Army National Guard from 1963 to 1974. He attained the rank of captain and served as commander of the 2,120th Supply and Service Company in Wookah. In 1974, Boren ran for governor. In keeping with the anti-establishment movements of that Watergate scandal-era campaign season, Boren's effort included the Boren Broom Brigade to demonstrate his pledge to sweep out the old guard and bring fundamental reforms to state government. Boren and Congressman Clem McSpadden defeated incumbent David Hall in the primary election and moved into a runoff for the Democratic nomination. Boren beat McSpadden in the runoff and subsequently defeated Republican Jim Inhofe in the general election. Inhofe would go on to be his successor in the United States Senate in the 1994 special election after his resignation. He was inaugurated on January 12, 1975. During his tenure, Boren worked on eliminating the inheritance tax for property left by one spouse to another, a reduction in the state income tax rate, improvements to the state corrections program in the wake of the 1973 Oklahoma State Penitentiary riot, and elimination of more than 100 state agencies, commissions, and boards. Boren attracted national attention during the energy crisis when he advocated nationwide deregulation of natural gas prices. Boren opted not to run for re-election in 1978, instead running for the United States Senate seat held by the retiring Dewey Bartlett. He won a multi-candidate primary with 46% of the vote to second-place finisher Ed Edmondson's 28%. Boren then defeated Edmondson in the runoff, and Republican Robert Kalm, former president of Oklahoma State University, in the general election. In the U.S. Senate, Boren was known as a centrist or conservative Democrat and was a protege of Texas Senator Lloyd Bentsen and was often aligned with Southern Democrats Sam Nunn of Georgia and Howell Heflin of Alabama. He was a strong advocate of tax cuts across the board as the cornerstone of economic policy. He opposed the windfall profit tax on the domestic oil industry, which was repealed in 1988. At one point, the tax was generating no revenue, yet still required oil companies to comply with reporting requirements and the IRS to spend $15 million to collect the tax. Of the tax, Boren said, as long as the tax is not being collected, the accounting requirements are needless. They result in heavy burdens for the private sector and unnecessary cost to the taxpayer. He was re-elected in 1984 and 1990. Boren was married twice. His first marriage to Jana Little, daughter of Ruel Little, occurred shortly after his graduation in 1968. They had 2 children and divorced in 1976. He married Pontotoc County Special District Judge Molly Schur on November 27, 1977. It was the first time an Oklahoma governor had married while in office. Schur was a native of Ada, Oklahoma, and alumna of East Central University and the University of Oklahoma, where she earned her degree in law. She was a lawyer in private practice for 2 years before being appointed as a judge. The Boren family has a strong interest in public policy and 3 generations of public service. His father, Lal Boren, served in the U.S. House of Representatives, OK 04, from 1937 to 1947. His son, Dan Boren, served in the U.S. House of Representatives, OK-02, from 2005 to 2013. Boren was the first cousin of singer, songwriter, and actor Hoyt Axton, best known for writing the song Joy to the World. Boren, who went on to serve as president of the University of Oklahoma after retiring from politics, died early Thursday at his home near Newcastle, said Bob Burke, a longtime family friend. He said Boren's death was the result of complications from diabetes. The son of a Democratic congressman, Boren quickly followed in his father's footsteps into elected office and oversaw a dramatic downsizing of government in Oklahoma, where over decades in legislative corridors and university offices, he became one of the state's most influential figures. His son, Dan Boren, also served 4 terms as an Oklahoma congressman. In 2019, David Boren cut ties with the university he had led for 24 years amid a probe into allegations that he had sexually harassed male subordinates. Boren denied wrongdoing, and the allegations never resulted in charges or civil litigation. He was the smartest person I ever knew. Burke, an attorney and author who managed Boren's first campaign for the U.S. Senate in 1978. He was a Rhodes Scholar, yet he could communicate with a farmer in overalls on the main street of a small Oklahoma town. No Oklahoman had more influence on the state's progress in its first century than David Boren, he said.